We need to stop lying to ourselves and face the cold, hard facts. Taylor Swift is the epitome of the Antichrist. She is the spawn of Beelzebub, the queen of the underworld, the damsel of darkness, the harpy of hell. And with her impending and eventual marriage to Travis Kelce, they will bring forth onto this planet a firestorm more powerful than anything that could be wrought by the four horsemen of the apocalypse, Satan himself, Constantine, SpongeBob SquarePants, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Gordon Ramsay, Evil Winnie the Pooh, Thanos, Darkseid, Joey Chestnut, and cultists from the Mormon Tabernacle Choir combined. We're screwed, I tell you. It is imminent we all fall under the thrall of Taylor Swift and anything that emerges from her body, and we are all destined for an eternity of cruel summers. Hey, you thought Biden and Trump was the most impactful competition of our lifetime? You just wait until Swifties rise up and subjugate all mankind into wearing friendship bracelets and force every male who listens to any Taylor Swift music to own this truck and drive it around town for 8 hours every day, drinking wine coolers and snacking on raspberry tots. Taylor Swift is the single most dangerous female to ever walk the planet. Or so claims Newsweek magazine. Now, if you weren't aware that Newsweek was still alive, you're not alone, as the publication sold for $1 back in 2010 has been resurrected in recent years by ownership determined to make it profitable again. And part of that strategy, obviously, is to allow anybody with writing software to warn young girls around the world how an aging Taylor Swift is clouding their minds with lies and keeping them from birthing as many babies as possible before their reproductive organs turn into the equivalent of whatever material is floating about the cranial orifice of the obvious spawn of hell, Kimberly Guilfoyle, or as some call her, Donald Trump Jr.'s beard. A recent opinion piece in Newsweek was titled "Taylor Swift is Not a Good Role Model," penned by Johnny MacGleon, a self-proclaimed essayist whose headshots scream a 16-year-old boy who spent more time on Tinder seeking to attract curious women using fake beefcake photos, or attracting researchers trying to solve the issue of inbreeding, who regales his audiences with such introspective and deep-thought articles such as, "Is your car snooping on your sex life?" The first clue what you're getting is noting how proud he is of the fact his opinions are featured in the New York Post, the South China Morning Post, and the Epoch Times, which thankfully does not have a print edition, as cats and birds everywhere would be unable to keep from defecating on themselves just from coming in close contact with this propaganda pablum. Johnny Mac believes Taylor Swift is destroying the very fabric of society because she is 34 years of age, unmarried and childless. This from a virile, strapping example of a man who is a 40-ish something male of the species who is also unmarried and childless. Ladies, I mean, come on now, don't you realize what you're missing here? Think of the offspring you could bring into the world. Though maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. You see, Johnny Boy is just the latest in truly fake media white guys who enjoy teeing off on Swift because he's easy fodder for their fellow hard-right Christian dogma audiences who believe there is no better woman than one who is barefoot, pregnant, and subjugated to the whim and will of their penile masters. On Fox News, the network that decided not to have a broadcast center in Jonestown, Guyana was a good idea for fear they would no longer be able to have Flavor Aid as a sponsor, Jesse Waters, the cable broadcast answer to the need for more refined birth control, has gone so far as to hint that Swift may be a Pentagon psychological operative designed to brainwash an entire generation into believing women don't need men to reproduce and may be better off just doing it all by themselves, which in Jesse's case would be a saving grace. On Newsmax, the right-wing answer to pumping human waste into your morning coffee, and where a member of the Qatari royal family invested $50 million to keep them afloat until the voting machine company Smartmatic buries them in court over their 2020 election lies, host Greg Kelly, the son of a former New York City police commissioner who flew jets in the military and once talked about how morale was better because there was a white Secretary of Defense, has blasted fans of Taylor Swift for idolizing the singer as something of a false god, all the while bending the verbal knee every chance he gets to lead MAGA followers into their fawning over the false golden god himself. What is it with white guys so scared of Taylor Swift? Even the master grifter himself is worried about whatever influence she has over voters in the 2024 election. Then again, they should be worried. You see, Swift has over 500 million with a B followers on social media, most of those young girls who can't vote. But for those American fans, each one has parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, brothers, and especially sisters who can walk into a voting station and make their mark, with each one looking into the eyes of their daughters and coming to grips with perhaps turning their futures over to a convicted felon and his followers who believe women are second-class citizens and only worthy if they are bouncing babies and taking cues from their male masters. In an election year with the slimmest of margins separating America from what will be the single most impactful decision on democracy this country has faced since the Civil War, this white male media and political brigade is showing their hand. They are scared spitless about the immense political power Taylor holds and can trigger in an instant at just the right time. You want proof? In September 2023, Swift posted an Instagram story encouraging her fans, and that means also their parents and those who can vote, to cast ballots in the U.S. state legislative elections on the platform vote.org. The reaction was immediate. Over 35,000 registrations on the day of the post and a reported 1,200% jump in participation in the hour just following the post. You see, some don't believe Swift will ever come out and publicly endorse anybody because she's too damn smart and wouldn't take a chance on alienating her fan base. But what those pundits miss is Swift has already conquered the music and concert world. Even a 10% slippage in her fan base would be nothing to the overall economic impact of her tours and the viability of album sales. She doesn't need a single ticket buy from a single right-wing cultist because they either already don't follow her and censor their kids from her evil, or they're doing it anyway to keep the kids happy and avoid the subject of Swift's political power altogether. In March of 1966, with no social media, John Lennon created a global firestorm when he said the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. No celebrity has exhibited that level of media power and influence since the phenomenon that is Taylor Swift. Young girls and boys grow to be young voters. Their parents see what their kids will be facing in this coming generation. On her album, The Tortured Poets Department, Taylor Swift asks, "Who's afraid of little old me?" On almost every right-wing media platform these days, the answer is obvious. Speaking of everything, I'm Ed Berliner.